Hey y'all, it's Big L. How are we doing today? Me? Well, I'm doing mighty fine, I think. Pretty well rested, I would say. I hope everybody else is having a great day too. And if not, let's have a better day together. So today, I made something for one of my favorite game franchises, Tomb Raider. I made a time-lapse of Lara Croft, specifically from Tomb Raider 2013, kind of that revitalization. Tomb Raider 2013 was one of my first rated M games, and I've probably played it all the way through, like sitting down one session, probably like 400 times. Probably about that many. But that's enough about me, right? Let's get on, that's enough yapping. Let's get on to that art already, shall we? So I did another one of those kind of smaller drawings and then blowing it up. I figured trying it once, the technique once, wasn't really trying it. I decided to go with the 2013 version of Lara for her Yamatai expedition. It was, like I said, one of my first, like, rated M games, so it has a very special place for me in my heart. Mostly because I was just such an awkward kid. And I always have kind of had this deep wish to just wanting to understand the world around me and just fill my brain with as much knowledge as it can hold, really. Like, Lara being an archaeologist, like, looking for forgotten history, just really spoke to me. You know, a woman just kind of trying her best to get everybody she brought with her to safety, you know, and failing, you know, at that a couple times. It was really just kind of like, for me, you know, put into perspective, like, you know, somebody as courageous and as educated and as smart as Lara, you know, can still have, like, those human moments. I think what I really liked about her Yamatai design, this isn't really spoilers, it's like there will be, fair warning though, there will be some spoilers for this decade-old game, but I will try not to spill all the beans in case you want to play it for yourself. What I really liked about this design is, like, right at the beginning of the game, you open with a cutscene, and it's just, you know, Lara on her expedition vessel called the Endurance, and they're going through a storm, and it's just like a storm just comes out of nowhere, and there's just these huge swells in the water, and it's not a dinghy either, it's a ship, you know. Don't need a PhD to know that. It's not a boat, it's a ship. And yeah, so the ship goes down, right? And you know, it's the middle of the night on the ocean, so Lara's just in, like, you know, it winding down, you know, she hasn't really changed into, like, her PJs or anything, right? So she's like in her clothes she was, like, just walking around the ship. I feel like it's just such a candid, you know, it really kind of solidifies that she was thrown into this situation, you know. She was not prepared for what she would find and what was ahead of her. To me, the whole game was just captivating for my developing brain. The set dressings, the voice acting, and honestly, the gameplay just checked all the boxes for me. It was intricate enough, but not overly... What's a good word for that? Not overly, like, complicated, not overly complex, maybe? I'd known about the original trilogy for a long time, and I'd always wanted to play at least one of them, but I never had the game, or it was either I had the console, not the game, or the game was, like, right there and I just didn't have the console. You know, like, going to GameStop, they'd, like, once in a blue moon actually have something decent. I just never could get it, because it was either one or the other. And you know, honestly, getting this game was a really happy accident. My dad had bought my siblings and I Xboxes, so it was one Xbox for the girls and one Xbox for the boys. And with the Xboxes, it came with, and they were 360s, by the way, the ancient technology. With those Xboxes, though, there was a little downloadable, like, gosh, I don't know if you guys remember these ones. They still make them, but they used to, you know, console bundles, right? Console bundles, and they'd give you, like, a little piece of cardboard, and you, like, scratch off the back or, like, pull off the tab in the back, and it would give you the code to exchange, you know, in the store. I know they still do those occasionally, but not really, like, not with the, you know, with buying a new game very often anymore. But yeah, my brothers didn't want their copy, and I was like, can I have it? And they were like, go for it, we don't want it. So I ended up putting the copy we got with our girly pop Xbox. I put that one on there, and then I smuggled the copy my stepbrothers had given me to my mom's house, where I had my uncle's Xbox that he let us little kids, you know, mess around with. Can I just say this? On the very rare occasion, divorced parents can just sometimes rule. This game kind of just, like, let out my, like, nerdy historian dream, you know? Let me kind of live that out, you know? I'm not a very, like, well-coordinated person. I can't do a pull-up, you know? I do yoga. That's, like, how I work out, you know? I'm very, very much so limber. I am not, I'm not strong, you know? And it was just very, kind of just awesome for me, you know, growing up to see a woman with brains, you know, with brawn and beauty, you know, like, not in the sense of, like, you know, of course Lara Croft's a sweet, you know, she's a beautiful gal, but, like, I mean beauty in the sense of, like, the way she perceives things, you know, like, it wasn't just, like, her educated brain, it was just, like, her as a person was just beautiful as well. And honestly, this game has really given me the complex that Yamatai really has to be out there somewhere. Lara can't be wrong. And honestly, I think this game just really has the right amount of supernatural tones with psychological horror and a perfect cherry on top of badassery. I figured Lara, like, doing Lara when she was about midway through the game, you know, pretty beat up, dirty, would be kind of the best way to, like, capture her survival spirit, you know, her survivalist spirit, her gritty nature that she, like, develops in the game. The best thing I got out of this, pretty much, you know, as, like, a preteen doing it, was just she never lost herself in that haze, you know? She remained curious and caring. I was definitely at a point, you know, when this game came out that I had a lot of self-doubt, you know, I had some problems at home, and I was understanding, like, my bisexual orientation as well as, like, my change of body. So I figured, you know, capturing that dirtiness too was also outside of my comfort zone, because I do a lot of cutesy and clean. And this is the opposite. Not to flex either, but I also can play the entire game in about 5 hours. I don't just mean, like, getting from point A to point B either. I mean getting all the collectibles, all of the treasure maps, challenges, and I got a pretty quick way of doing it too. I can straight up beat the game with 100% in about 5-ish hours. I'm a little rusty though. I used to have a speedrun record on speedrun.com, but they removed it and didn't tell me why. Other people had streamed on Twitch, which I used, and their videos weren't even viewable, and they got to stay up. I mean, whatever though, right? You know what? I say I just gotta do it again. And I think I just might. But yeah, this is my Lara Croft, guys. You know, there's some points, you know, during the perspective of it, honestly, I was kind of just, I had to look at myself like this a couple times. I was just, it was hard. It was hard. And honestly, doing some of the, like, dirt, I was like, how do I make it look dirty and then shade it after? Like, how do I, like, keep that, like, dirty kind of grittiness and not let it get lost in the sauce? But yeah, this is definitely one of my, I don't know, definitely a little sweet piece for me. You know, I love Lara, and I hope you guys had fun with me today, just yapping and talking about why I love the character of Lara Croft and my history with how I found out about her. She's a very strong female role model for me. And she'll just always have that place for me. But yeah, you know, make sure you guys do all those things if you want to see me again. You know, I'm not your grandma. I don't have to tell you how to see me again. You can follow me on Instagram and Tumblr at the same handle. I post more art on those platforms too. And yeah, thank you guys for just another awesome day. I can't wait to see you again. And just remember to love yourself, love the planet, and that I'll be your Huckleberry.